Please be seated. Welcome, family, friends, and class of 2003, as we gather here today on this exciting evening to triumph in the spiritual celebration of our accomplishments. Tonight, let us reflect on the many gifts God has blessed us with that have granted our victories and allowed us to overcome our failures. Lillian Hellman once said, "Success isn't everything, but it sure makes a man stand straight." We live in a society where expectations of great success are thrust upon us. But I believe Mother Teresa put it best when she said, "God doesn't require us to succeed. He only requires that you try." Once again, as we spiritually prepare ourselves for graduation, let us recall the important role our faith has played in our lives and will continue to play long into the future. Congratulations, class of 2003, and God bless America.
As we leave these halls, class of 2003, we open our eyes and prepare to be free. The friendships we've forged and the people we've met will stay with us always. About this, do not fret. But look ahead to the future and soar with the rest, knowing deep in your heart you've done all your best. We stand here together as brethren, as friends. We'll always be there, no matter the ends.
Just where we go,
and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. With your grace and to a place where we'll be safe.
Pray we'll find your love.
I pray we'll find your love.
Hold it in our heart.
And hold it in our heart.
Stars go out each night.
When stars go out each night.
Eternal light will shine. Let this be our prayer.
Let this be our prayer.
Shadows fill our
When
day.
shadows fill our day.
Lead us to a place.
Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. We're dreaming of a world that has no violence, a world without injustice, war, and hunger, where neighbors give a helping hand to strangers as a sign of friendship, brotherhood, and love.
We ask that life become.
We ask that life become,
Watch us from above.
and watch us from above.
Hope each soul will find.
We hope each soul will find
Another soul to love.
another soul to love. Let this be our prayer.
Let this be our prayer. Just like every child.
Just like every child, need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved. And now with this faith, which is in our hearts, we can feel that we'll be saved.
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to come and speak to you this evening. It is an honor and a privilege. I extend to you, the class of 2003, my sincere congratulations on your achievement. For knowledge and graduation, well, they don't come easily, but they come only to those who have been diligent and very dedicated. And secondly, I extend my congratulations to you, the parents and the teachers of the class of 2003. Your constant support, your continuous encouragement, and the painstaking efforts have all come to fruition. I know that you join me in feeling great pride and satisfaction as we look at these fine young men and women in whom we have had a hand in shaping and molding. I would also like to extend my congratulations to Mr. Roger Kramer on a very successful year as the principal of Wadsworth High School. We are all grateful for your outstanding leadership. My sermon tonight is based upon Genesis chapter 12, the first 5 verses, where God came to Abraham and Sarah, who at the time were called Abram and Sarai, and he gave this command. Now the Lord said to Abram, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation, and I will bless you, and I will make your name great, so that you will be a blessing." That command undoubtedly came at a time when Abram was planning on expanding his herd, and Sarai, his wife, was dreaming of purchasing a larger tent. It probably came at a time when life was feeling settled, comfortable, and very secure. In other words, it probably came at the worst possible time. It came at a time when Abram and Sarai weren't really ready for it to come, I imagine. But it came anyway. That command to go. It was a command to uproot, to leave, to start over, to step out of the comfortable known and into the uncomfortable unknown. The Bible doesn't let us into Abram and Sarai's mind, but it doesn't take much imagination to hear them thinking to themselves, "Go? But I'm just getting settled in here. I'm just beginning to get along with these people I live with. I like it here. Go? But all my friends are here. I'm known in this place. I have a reputation here. Go? Where could be better than here? I'm not finished here yet. Go? You've got to be kidding me." But God wasn't kidding. Never mind that they weren't ready to go. Never mind that they weren't sure they wanted to change. Life came at them as a command. And the command was that it was time for them to go. Life is always like that. Right when you think you have things under control, right when you're feeling like you want to put down roots and stay where you're at, right when you're feeling good about your circumstances, life comes at you as a command to go, and everything must change. I remember one of my freshman high school teachers in the little log cabin school that I went to. I'm sure that's what you're all thinking. He was listening to we freshmen grumble about the first day of class being in a strange school and being at the bottom of the totem pole, like all freshmen are. Only a year before, we were top dogs in the junior high. Doesn't get any better than that. But now everything had changed, and we had to start over. He let us grumble for a while, and then he said, "You know what, guys? You may as well get used to it, because life will force change on you, and you will always have to start again. When you finally work yourselves up to being a senior here in high school, you're going to graduate, and you're going to start out all over again being a freshman in college. And just as soon as you begin to make new friends and you get a handle on college life, you're going to graduate, and you're going to start all over again in some job or profession. And when your life finally begins to settle into a groove, you're going to fall in love, and you're going to get married, and you're going to start life all over again as a married couple. And no sooner are you going to get your feet on the ground as a married couple and begin to understand what it is like to be a married couple and who this person is you married, then children are going to come. And you're going to have to start all over again as parents. And when you finally reach a point where you think you understand these children you brought into the world and what being a parent is all about, they're going to graduate. And you're going to have to start life all over again, living without them. Well, this point was, the change is inevitable and it's unstoppable. It comes at our lives as a command to go. We cannot stay where we are. We must move on, ready or not. Unfortunately, moving on is not one of our favorite things to do. Change is something we tend to resist. Change means letting go of old familiar places and people and moving on to what is unfamiliar. It means letting go of old securities and venturing forth into who knows what. It means having to say goodbye to the way we were. But sometimes the way we were is the way we still want to be. Holden Caulfield is my favorite literary character. He's from the novel The Catcher in the Rye. Holden is growing up. He's changing. And he finds that he is forced into the adult world. But he misses the innocence and the fun of childhood and adolescence. He's caught between being forced to move on and wanting to stay the same. One day, his little sister, Phoebe, asks him what he wants to be when he grows up, a scientist, a lawyer. But nothing really catches Holden's fancy. Nothing appeals to him. It's too adult. Finally, he opens up to Phoebe and he tells her about his crazy dream. He says to her, I keep picturing all these kids playing some game in a big field, a field of rye and all. thousands of little kids. And nobody's around, nobody big that is, except me. And I'm standing on the edge of some crazy cliff. And what I have to do, I have to catch everybody if they start to go over the cliff. I mean, they're running around and they don't look where they're going. And I have to come out from somewhere and I have to catch them. And that's all I do all day long, is I'd be the catcher in the rye. You see, Holden, he didn't want those kids to grow up. For if a kid fell off the cliff, that meant he or she would become an adult. That child would no longer be the innocent, playful kid in the field of rye. If you graduates feel at times like we parents are trying to catch you and keep you from growing up, it's because change is really hard for us. Even though we feel a lot of pride in your accomplishments, we also have a very strong dose of reluctance. We're reluctant to see you grow up because we know life is going to take you away. And that's hard. We aren't confident that we have done everything that we should have done to prepare you for what you're going to face out there. We're afraid of losing you when you walk out the door. We're filled with a lot of anticipation over what you will become, but we're very uncertain as to what we will become without you. This is the third and final graduation for my wife Jan and me, which means that we are facing that empty nest syndrome, which I know a number of you are facing as well. A quiet will descend upon the house and replace familiar sounds. Empty chairs and empty beds will feel like empty places in the heart. How will we fill all the time that we devoted to raising our sons? Will the future be as good as the past? Because the past was great. Life is coming at us as a command, and we parents too have to leave our old familiar ways and start over, and we're not certain that we like it one bit. And parents, if there are times when you feel some slight hesitation from your son or daughter about moving on, it is because they too have a very strong dose of reluctance. Well, they have a lot of pride in what they have done, and I know you're very eager, but I also know you have a lot of unanswered questions. Will I lose my friends? Will new relationships be as good as the old ones? Do I have what it takes to make it? Suppose I don't like what I decide to do. Will I ever know what I want to do? Will my parents still be for me, there for me when I am gone? See, life comes at all of us as a command, and we are forced to change. Whether change is what we're ready for or not. But this is what I want you to hear. Command was not the only thing that came to Abram and Sarai that day. God gave them something else as well. Promises. Promises. The promise that God will guide them. I will show you a new land. The promise that they will grow. I will make you a great nation. The promise of a meaningful life. You will be a blessing. And the promise that in all that they do and everywhere they go, God will ever be with them. It was not promised to Abram and Sarai that they would have no risks and no challenges. It was not promised that there would be no pain and no problems. But it was promised that if they would meet that command to go, and they would go with faith and trust in God, that their lives would find fulfillment. But if they hid from the change and didn't trust their God, their lives would be stunted and unfulfilled. And you know, it's an interesting thing that when Abram and Sarai decided to leave their old securities and leave their old life behind and venture into the change that God had commanded them to go into, it was then that their names were changed to Abraham and Sarah. Only when they let go and moved on were their lives, like their names, fulfilled and complete. The most beautiful people that I know are those who had faith and courage enough to let go and journey on. And the saddest people that I've met in my life are those who desperately tried to cling to what was and are forever afraid of what could be. When my 3 sons were very young, I used to read them a book about a caterpillar who was on a journey to find something good to eat, but who meets up with one obstacle after another. Towards the end of the book, the caterpillar spins a cocoon that is warm and safe and secure. But on the last page of the book, the cocoon opens and out emerges the caterpillar, which now, of course, is a beautiful butterfly. Well, the first time I read the book, my graduating 3rd son, Aaron, who's feeling very embarrassed right now, asked an important question. He wanted to know, why didn't that caterpillar stay in that cocoon where it was safe? Good question. And I was all ready to give a scientific answer about metamorphosis when his oldest brother, Nathan, chimed in and said, because he would never get to fly. The temptation is to stay in our cocoons, to resist the commands that our life must change. But to do so is to never get to fly. We learn how to fly when we trust the wind beneath us and know it is the Spirit of God that is holding us up and carrying us on. The same promises that were given to Abraham and Sarah are given to you graduates and are given to you parents. God promises to guide you into a new land where you will find a new and exciting life. God promises that out there you will grow and you will come to rediscover who you are. God promises that out there you will develop new relationships and new ways to live your faith so that you will become a blessing to people you haven't even met yet. And God promises that wherever you go and whatever you do, He will be there to uphold you, support you, guide you, forgive you, bless you, and love you always. Yes, life comes at us as a command to go, to journey on. But the journey does not lead just anywhere. The story of Abraham and Sarah assures young and old alike that for those of us who have faith, it is always a journey into the promises of God, where the future becomes the promised land. God bless you, class of 2003. Amen.
Maura O'Neill said, "Youth's for an hour, beauty's a flower, but love is the jewel that wins the world." This poem rings true for us now as we stand on the doorstep of graduation. We realize that it is time to move on in our lives. We can only be young for so long. Now, we have to take what we have learned and implement it into our future. But we will not be doing this on our own. We will have the love and support of our parents. Their love is a jewel that is always with us. Let us thank our parents and the love they show for us by giving them a flower. The flower is a representation of true adoration, bonds of affection and love. Let us now give flowers out of true adoration to the people who win the world for us with their love.
May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up the light of his holy countenance upon you and give you peace and joy, now and forevermore. Amen.